Hello everybody, this is Tekka. In this video, what we're going to be doing today is checking out Dog Linux, or the DebianDog projects. Now what this is a bunch of different ISOs and basically Linux distribution builds based on Debian that are a lot smaller. A lot of them you could actually burn onto a CD, just a regular CD disk, and boot because they're less than 600 megabytes and you'll be good to go. Now a lot of these are out of date and we're going to be taking a look at them, doing a quick skim through of all the different projects, and then finally checking out, I believe it is the FossaDog, the latest release that they have to offer. So let's go ahead and go over to our Firefox browser here and check out what's going on. So this is Welcome to Dog Linux, and it has a list of all the latest news. You can see here this is maybe 20 different bullet points that goes all the way back to 2016. So this isn't an incredibly active project, but you do see a couple notable releases in 2020, including September 19th, FossaDog was released, and there are a couple different scripts. But over here on the side, you can see all the different projects they have available, from DebianDog Jessie, DebianDog Jessie 64-bit. So for example, if we go to this one right here, it kind of gives you a little screenshots of what's going on, and you can see on the actual file name here the version, well, not the version, the date of release. So this one's fairly out of date. It was released in 2015, September of 2015. But you can see here it is only 197 megabyte, which is incredibly small, and it says it's for older PC. There's a modern PC one here, but this one's extremely out of date. If we go to DebianDog 64, you can see this one is 2016 also. A lot of these, the main difference between these projects is what version of Debian and what Linux kernels it's based off of. If we go to StretchDog here, you see there's both 32 and 64-bit. It's based on Debian 9. And it has the the 4.9 kernel, so it's a little bit newer. Features OpenBox and XFCE, and it has the 32-bit and 64-bit ISO. This is 2017, so it's still pretty out of date. If we go over to BusterDog, we have a 2020 release, which this one features both 32 and 64-bit. Now, these projects are really good for getting old hardware very usable, because these are pretty good builds of Debian. And you can see if I go over to the download here, let's open that up in a new tab. You can see the file sizes are 300 megabyte and 345 megabyte. So they are incredibly small. FossaDog, this is based off of Ubuntu 20.04. It is a 64-bit. I do not believe they have a 32-bit of this one, but this is probably the most up-to-date and modern one. You can see here it features the 5.4 kernel with OpenBox as the default window manager. And there's other versions too. And it does feature the UEIF support. Then we have, I think it's DebianDog, and this is an older release as well. But I do believe this one, or maybe it's the Bionic Dog. One of these has a Cinnamon edition, which is worth checking out. Right here, Cinnamon edition of Bionic Dog. They have 64-bit of that, but they have a 32-bit version with just the default OpenBox. All these ISOs are incredibly small, right around 3 to 400 megabytes. Under Other, you have a couple different things that you could check out too, related to this. But in this video, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at FossaDog, because it is, well, it seems to be the current and most up-to-date version. So downloading this is pretty simple. All you do is go under download, and then here we have the FossaDog 2020 ISO, save file, okay, and then they have the MD5 sum, or MD5, and then wait for this to go ahead and download. 50 megabytes a second. Oh my god. I just got gigabit for the first time ever, so that was wild, because before I'd have to pause the video, wait like 5 minutes, and then so let's jump into VirtualBox and get this going. So jumping over to our virtual machine here, we have FossaDog. Oh, I already booted into that, so I didn't really get to see exactly what was going on. But the cool thing about this is most small disks like that, most small ISOs like that require a lot to be able to like a lot of extra work to actually boot into them, get the right drivers and everything. And it seems like these FossaDog, well, this FossaDog or the Dog Linux, DebianDog, whatever you want to call it, seems to have a pretty good experience so far when it comes to actually getting into it. Right out of the gate, this looks pretty messy. It's not my preferred taste in visual appeal. But here we have our keyboard shortcuts, the very first dialog that comes up, which is pretty helpful if you are unfamiliar with this window manager. So the resolution on this is pretty low, but we're not going to focus on that too much right now. Let's see what it has going on. I think that this is part of a Cronky toggle. Let's see what's up here first. So audio setup. I've actually never seen this application before, but cool. Browse, let's see what web browser they have you using if it wants to open. There it is. Firefox is fine. Close that out. I opened 2 of them, or 3 of them. Whoa! Close tabs. The real thing I'm curious about, what I did was I gave this a gigabyte of RAM, and right here out of the gate it's using about 400 to 500 megabytes of RAM, which is not too bad. Create save, FossaDog installer, we'll run through that. Desktop manager, I wonder if I can actually change the resolution through here. Probably not. I'm very unfamiliar with OpenBox, so I just don't know, to be quite frank. But you can kind of see me, or get to watch me struggle with this. Yeah, I'm not going to make you do that because I do struggle quite a bit with it. I had to look up a lot of things and kind of learn how to use OpenBox on the go. But ultimately, when it comes to this Linux distribution, it's just another Ubuntu ripoff. Somebody got Ubuntu, put all their own crap on it, and to be completely my opinion, this is an absolutely ugly Linux distribution and Ubuntu based Linux distribution. I mean, if lightweight is the goal, 500 megabytes is kind of what Ubuntu runs at anyway, if it's just vanilla based, and Debian runs a little bit better. So I don't see why somebody wouldn't just download and install Ubuntu or Debian and just run a command to install OpenBox as the window manager or any other window manager in the entire world. The amount of these Linux distributions that people keep making when there's very, very minor differences just doesn't make sense to me, when there's no real strong change or contribution to the actual Linux ecosystem and environment. Because I can think of a ton of different Linux distributions that actually help, so to speak. Elementary OS, that's I believe Debian or Ubuntu based distribution that completely puts in their own code, their own work, their own spin on things. And there's a ton more, but there's just so many different Linux distributions that do that same thing where they're just skinning it. And this distribution, even if they just skinned it and if it looked good, what's the one we just looked at? The KDE one with the bird. I forgot the exact name of it, but at least they made it look really cool. Granted, it's just a Arch based KDE thing, but they actually their theming's really good. The choice of everything is good, but this version of Ubuntu Dog or whatever just isn't that good, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Other than that, I do hope you have a beautiful day. Sorry for the inconsistency in videos. I've been doing a lot with this office here. I'm actually in the process of building a home lab, home server setup right behind this camera here. So be looking forward. We'll look forward to that video because I'm going to be doing a specific video on the actual case and the actual rack. And then later on, once I actually get everything in it, I'll be doing a video on the whole setup and checking out the office and maybe looking more into the fish tank that's behind me there. So, yeah. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers, all 3 of you at the moment. Your guys' support means a lot to me. It does help me, give me motivation to make videos like this. If you are interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, there'll be a link in the description. But if you don't feel like doing that, that is more than fine. Simply liking this video, subscribing to see my future content, and leaving a comment down below is more than enough. I hope, once again, you have a beautiful day, and goodbye.